Hello and welcome to Gaming Historian. It's time for another book review. Yes, I do love my books, especially the ones about video games. For the past 7 years, I've amassed quite a nice little collection of books, and the one I'll be talking about today is probably one of my favorites, and that is the Sega Mega Drive Genesis Collected Works. So first, a little background. The Sega Mega Drive Genesis Collected Works began as a Kickstarter project by Darren Wall, the founder of publishing company Read Only Memory. The book promised to be an unparalleled treasury of production artwork, interviews, development sketches, and hardware manufacturing plans, all on the Sega Mega Drive, or as we call it in North America, the Genesis. It was even officially licensed by Sega. The project initially had a goal of £30,000, and by the end had amassed £98,725. Read Only Memory was kind enough to send a copy of the book to me for review, so here are my thoughts along with a general overview of what's inside. So to start, let's talk about first appearances. The cover is gorgeous. It's a minimalistic, etched drawing of the Mega Drive. It's good quality too, doesn't feel cheap. This has the look of a nice coffee table book. Once you open up the book, things get even better. The first section is a wonderfully written piece by Keith Stewart titled Arcade Perfect: How Sega Took Gaming to the Next Level. It provides a complete history of the Mega Drive/Genesis, how Sega came up with the system, marketed it in North America, and became a dominant force in the industry. Stewart was able to talk to many people who were working for Sega at the time, including former president and CEO Tom Kalinske. This is a fantastic read and contains a ton of good information. The next section is Hardware Development Documents. This is where it's apparent Sega gave the creators unbridled access to their archives. You've got production drawings, controller concepts, specification documents, and even some things I never even knew existed. Some of these pages even fold out for a complete view. The Hardware Showcase section features high-quality pictures of Sega products during the Genesis era, everything from the console itself to the Sega CD, and even the Sega Nomad. Wow, a Mega CD karaoke device? We'll have to talk about that sometime. The end of the section contains notes for each picture. Next, we have the Game Packaging and Production Illustrations section. That pretty much describes it perfectly. You've got all the artwork from some of the most popular Genesis games at the time, including Altered Beast, Golden Axe, Toe Jam and Earl, Shinobi, and a whole bunch more. The following section, Game Design Documents, is more interesting. These are behind-the-scenes documents of Sega games while they were being designed. I don't think I've ever seen video game design documents before, so this was really fascinating to me, even the pages about enemy patterns and sizes. I especially love the section on Gunstar Heroes, which is one of my favorite Genesis titles. The next two sections contain character illustrations and pixel art. The character illustrations are nice, and it was interesting to see how the developers took a drawing and turned it into pixel form. The final section is my absolute favorite part, and that is interviews. I absolutely love interviews, and I always try to find some when I write episodes, so this section is a godsend. There's 28 interviews to read, including Sonic creator Yuji Naka, Shenmue creator Yu Suzuki, and a whole lot more. A full index in the back puts a nice bow on the entire book. I don't think I have anything bad to say about this book. I guess if I had a small gripe, the page quality in the interview section is different than the rest of the book. It loses its glossy finish and everything is printed in blue ink. I'm not really sure why, since the rest of the book is in full color with gloss pages, but this small issue is nothing compared to the overall quality of this book. If you have even the slightest interest in Sega at all, this is a must-own. Even people who don't play video games would find this book interesting. It's an essential book for research purposes, or for just displaying on your coffee table. The design and layout is beautiful. There's a ton of information, and some things in here you won't be able to see anywhere else. Read Only Memory has done a fantastic job creating essentially a 350-page love letter to the Sega Genesis. You can purchase this book for yourself by visiting their website, which I will provide a link to in the description below. Now I will warn you, Read Only Memory is based out of the United Kingdom, so that means if you live in the United States and you want to purchase this book, it's going to run you about $64. Now that's a pretty hefty price tag for a book, but I will say this, the quality of this book and the amount of content inside makes it worth it in my opinion. That's all for this episode of Gaming Historian. Thanks for watching.